Politics met the soccer pitch at the FIFA Men's World Cup last night. Iran played its first World Cup match, a 2-2 draw against New Zealand in Los Angeles. Some protesters against the Iranian regime were held outside the match. Later on, Iran's coach complained his team was forced to return immediately to its training base in Mexico. CBS News correspondent Nicole Valdes joins us now with more from last night's match. Nicole, good morning. You've got politics, geopolitics overshadowing what was meant to be just a joyous game. So what was it like on the pitch last night?
Errol, good morning. There were several protests that we saw both outside and inside the stadium yesterday before the start of the Iran and New Zealand match. And even throughout the match, we noticed that there were people inside the stadium wearing T-shirts that sort of, honored the men and women who've lost their lives in that country over the last several years. We also noticed some tried to bring in signs to show the number of people who had been killed. So certainly some Iranians going to yesterday's match in a way in protest, trying to send a message to the regime of their really disappointment in the situation in their native country. But for the most part, throughout the match, it was actually a very calm experience. And I will note this: anytime Iran took control of the ball, or during the times that, they made their 2 goals that ended in that draw between New Zealand, there were actually louder cheers for the Iranian players than there were at times for that New Zealand team. So certainly an interesting dynamic in yesterday's match.
Wow, that's fascinating. And, LA is an American city, I understand, with the highest Iranian population outside of Iran when it comes to U.S. cities. And I understand that the coach of the team said they were ordered to leave the country, return to their base camp in Mexico right after the game. I know the players have struggled with getting enough recovery. What's being said about that?
Yeah, we heard from Iran's team captain yesterday shortly after the match, and he called the situation bad and really disappointing, calling it a disaster. He said last night that he really wasn't aware that they were going to be forced to leave back to Mexico after last night's match, and said exactly that, Errol, that it does impact the players' recovery after a match, especially one where clearly they played as intensely and were able to hold New Zealand to that tie there. He's been consistent in saying, we are here for football first. We are always united with our people. But of course, he is now recognizing several of their team members that were denied visas into the U.S., including some of their top representatives that are usually ones communicating with FIFA directly on this issue. So certainly something that we could continue to see impact this team moving forward in the tournament.
All right, Nicole Valdes with all the latest for us, joining us out of Inglewood, California. Nicole, thank you.